Welcome to Tuesday, February 7th board meeting. Let's start with the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Superintendent, Dr. Murphy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Scarito. Welcome, everybody. A couple updates tonight. First, from Mr. Butler. Wrestling team competed at the league championships last weekend, and we'll be sending 5 wrestlers to the county tournament, continuing just years and years and years of success. So we got Connor Sheridan was crowned league champion at 102 pounds. Frankie Volpe, league champ at 152. Gino Manta was the runner-up at 102. Jason D was third at 110, and senior Matt West took 4th at 160. Again, these wrestlers will compete in the Suffolk County Championships next Monday and Tuesday at Stony Brook. In other action, the varsity boys swim team was crowned League One tournament team champions, and a special congratulations to Hauppauge's Colin Buscarino, who was crowned the League One diving champion. Congratulations. In other news, Hauppauge High School has been hosting a group of 15 French high school students and 2 teachers from France in the Loire Valley. Looking at my former French teacher over there. Loire. That's terrible. 3 years of French in high school, too. I know, it's embarrassing. Je m'appelle Donald? Okay. All right. We had the pleasure of meeting these students in Madame Rigaud's class last week. They arrived on Wednesday, February 1st, leaving tomorrow morning to spend their last 3 days in Manhattan. In fact, tonight, Mr. Barchet is not here because he's hosting those students and the teachers for a farewell dinner at his house. While here, the students were housed with the families of the French students, like Mr. Barchet's son. They attended classes, sporting events, visited the Vanderbilt Museum and the United Nations. On the weekend, the students participated in various activities, visiting areas on Long Island and Manhattan, as well as seeing Broadway shows, and of course, they hit the mall. No trip would be complete without hitting the mall. Well, we are always hopeful that we'll be able to continue to grow this program. The board has always supported this program, and it's been fantastic. So that is my update. Thank you, Mr. Scarito.
Dr. Murphy, on to number 5, as far as recognitions and awards.
All right, so we have a hero here tonight. I'm just going to read a little story here that Mrs. O'Connor and Mr. Colin were kind enough to write up and share with me. On January 19th, at the conclusion of 9th period band rehearsal, an emergency occurred. A student, in their haste of packing up their instrument, opened the skinny test tube-like container for her reed with her teeth, and as she did so, the force of the pull projected the cap down her throat. The student was choking. After her initial panic, she immediately approached her teacher, Mr. Feldman, who is here tonight, displaying the universal choking sign. And in an instant, Mr. Feldman sprung into action, performing the Heimlich maneuver on the student. Because of Mr. Feldman and his quick instincts, he was able to save the student's life. Mr. Feldman is in his first year with the district, and we are so very proud of his daily efforts and humbled by his heroic actions on this day. Mr. Feldman, thank you on behalf of the whole district for your work that day to save that student. Yes, but before we do the photo, I believe someone else would like to say a few words. Of course. See that mic's okay?
So you took some of my words there, but hi, I'm Amy Carruthers. I'm Charlotte's mother. Unfortunately, Charlotte couldn't be here. She is practicing with her basketball team. So I just wanted to speak on behalf of our family and tell you a little bit about our daughter. Charlotte is a student in Hauppauge Middle School and actually just recently performed the play The Lion King. She had a few different parts in the show, and she truly made my husband and I so incredibly proud of her confidence and fearlessness on the stage. Charlotte is also recently selected to represent Hauppauge Middle School in the Suffolk County Music Educators Association All-County Festival, which will happen in March. This past week, Charlotte played in the CYO semifinals in a basketball game. The girls made it almost all the way, but unfortunately lost by just a few points to make the finals this week. My husband, Gary Carruthers, is the coach of the team, and actually they have their last practice today, which is why he couldn't be here. Charlotte also took part in IGE Horse Show this week, where she was placed 4th in her division. These achievements all happened within the past few weeks. These achievements represent Charlotte, full of life and hope for the future, a child with unlimited potential, possibilities, and endless dreaming. I think we already know the details of the story, so I'm going to skip a little bit ahead and say Mr. Feldman, on a very ordinary day, in a very ordinary month, in the middle of his very first Hauppauge school year, performed a life-saving maneuver that inevitably became the reason our daughter is still here today, full of life and dreams for her future. Heroes are said to come in all types. Our hero is a young teacher, similarly full of potential and possibilities for his future. If Mr. Feldman became a hero in this past year at Hauppauge, I can just imagine what the rest of his years will be like. Where do you go from here, Mr. Feldman? Although I try not to think about what life would have been like if Mr. Jacob Feldman had not been so sure of what to do or hesitated in any way, my mind sometimes wanders down that road of how much possibility and hope our daughter has in her future at this very moment. And I'm forever grateful for his heroic act and all that he continues to do for our daughter, Charlotte. Thank you. The town of Smithtown was notified about this event and provided a proclamation for Jacob. So I'd like to present that to him. I would shake his hand, but unfortunately.
Mrs. O'Connor, Dr. Lander, Mr. Paul, Jacob, please come on up for another photo. Mrs. Crothers, would you come join us as well?
Come. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Trying to get rid of
I give you a fist bump.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
My pleasure. So you like you do.
Get everybody
We
in.
have enough? He's the important.
Laura, you good?
Two important people right here.
Okay, 2 rows.
Thank you. Good job, Jake.
Starting. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice meeting
Thank you.
Yes,
yes.
Charlie's
Yes, that's you, Charlie.
Connect this story, so this is great.
Nice to officially meet you.
too. Thank you, Ms. Crothers.
You're welcome. Try and go through that without.
I wish I could just end right there. That was like perfect. All right, we're going to move on to 5C, the adoption of minutes. I'm going to break them. There's 2 of them. Number 1 is the business meeting of December 6th, 2022. I need a motion. Kyle? Camino? Any discussion? All those in favor? No abstaining? Number 2, business meeting of January 10th, 2023. Dr. Crawford, Mr. Buscarino with the second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Abstaining? Thank you. Moving on to number 6. Any questions and comments on tonight's agenda only from our community? Moving on to the consent agenda, 7.1 through 7.4B, is that correct? Do we have a motion? Okay, Dr. Trapper, Mr. Boscarino, and just anyone want to sever anything? I apologize. No? Okay. All those in favor?
Mr. Scrivener?
Yes.
Just a quick note, because I see Mr. Collin in the audience. Again, I want to recognize HEF for the Eagle mascot costume. I believe Mr. Collin will be modeling that and helping others to test it out in the near future. Thank you, HEF.
Yes, thank you, HA. You want me to speak to that?
Oh,
We do, and I also-
no pressure.
We also want to thank Mr. Coleman. I mean, you were like the star of Verizon's all the things you've been doing, so just let you know.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that, and I'm so glad that I'm here to actually speak to it because the Board of Education and the Hauppauge Educational Foundation really came through in a huge way, getting the middle school their very own Eagle mascot. And there was actually quite a bit of research involved because we wanted to make sure that the transition between middle school and high school was seamless. So it's not like differing eagles. And we've got a lot of things planned for the Eagle. And there's so much school spirit surrounding the Eagle, and it's not just for sports. We just recently unveiled the Eagle Express, which is a cart that we're touring around. Well, I thought about it, but I didn't want to be too presumptuous. But the Eagle is in attendance with the Eagle Express. We just had a kindness raffle where the Eagle was, and can I tell you, when these kids get in that Eagle outfit, it is just electric. It's just awesome. They just feel so great, and there's going to be so many opportunities for so many different kids to actually participate in that school spirit kind of thing. And coming from a former Division I mascot myself, it will shape lives in so many ways, So this is such a layup, and thank you, Dr. Murphy. But it really is so very much appreciated, the board and HEF for seeing how important that is to school culture. So thank you very much.
Move on to number 8, policies, there are none. Number 9 on the committee reports, a couple of them, Mr. Barchet absent, we're going to put that to the next meeting so we can have all of them answered correctly. Number 10 is discussion matters. Any board members have any discussion matters?
Nothing from this.
I had a couple. I'm going to bring this up now, Dr. Murphy, or a new business. I know the news day the other day that Hauppauge School District was receiving just shy of $2 million from the federal government. When do we get that so the community knows, and do we have ideas of where that's going to go, since it's like a lot of...
You're talking about from state aid?
I believe it was federal, wasn't it?
I'm not sure the article you were...
It's federal.
Okay,
2
so,
million federal. 1.8.
I think that's the state aid number. We're finalizing the budget. We'll be bringing that in the upcoming board meetings to the board for approval and for review.
The other thing I'd like to bring up, and once again, I got to thank Mr. Feldman here. I think it's amazing who could step up to play like that. CPR, the Heimlich maneuver, and all that stuff. Why can't we be the first school to institute this as a requirement in our gym classes? As early as 9 years old, you can learn CPR, you can learn stuff like that. There's no reason we should not be teaching our students and teachers this stuff. I mean, we can even call it become a Jacob, or be a Jacob. I mean, I am dumbfounded that, more of us don't know it.
So happy to explore that great idea. I know one of the suggestions that came back was related to Life Back, which happy to report that's something we do have in our schools, but we're adding to our fleet of that device helps students who are
It's a
choking.
great device, but you need more of them
Yep.
that's spread out.
So,
And it's up to them.
truth be told, this is sparking some different ideas, and I'll add yours
That's
to
what I'd
that
like
list as well.
to see, because I don't see why we can't teach it. Go ahead.
Mr. Cole, sure.
Just briefly?
Yep.
I think that's a great suggestion, but I just want to let you know that prompting, what this situation did prompt us was to do a little bit of education of our own at the middle school. And I wanted to be really careful not to teach something that, I might not necessarily be qualified to teach. However, Mrs. O'Connor and myself thought it was very important to expose our middle school students to the Heimlich maneuver. So what we did this past week, late last week, was at the very beginning of every lunch period, there was a Red Cross video that, I had found with the assistance of our school nurse as well as our athletic director to make sure that it was definitely the appropriate video. The video was just over 2 minutes long, so the attention span was there for us. In addition to exposing our students to that video, we made sure that all of them knew exactly where the posters, the Heimlich maneuver posters were. There are 6 of them displayed everywhere in the cafeteria. I did take a little bit of time to talk about, the universal sign for choking, talk about making sure you take reasonable bites, make sure that you chew your food so it's easy to swallow, and things of that nature. So I think it's a great suggestion, and we'll continue to take these opportunities in, say, advisory or in the cafeteria space when we find them to be appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. And just to take the baton back, so Mrs. Bilski, we know that students can choke in the other buildings as well, right? So we're having those discussions with the nurses to make this a universal approach to consistency.
Correct. People need to be certified and know what they're teaching. 100% agree. It would be a smart thing. Mr. Barchet, wish he was here. When we did baseball, he had us go through safety training. He brought people in that were certified and taught all his baseball coaches how to do it. That was something we need to do in our schools.
Yep.
If I may ask Mr. Feldman, can I ask her how you knew what to do? Instinct. So you didn't even go to a class, you just, did you want to say something?
I did, if I could. I just want to say that this emergency has sparked a lot of research in my life, things that I did not realize. And one of the things I did, a post on my social media page, was teaching your child the universal sign for choking. And I did it in 5 minutes one day while I was driving in the car. And I said, hey guys, at a light, I said, I don't know what happened, but I just decided to show them. And I'm so grateful to this day that I did. However, when I posted that, one of my very good friends, I don't know if you're familiar with the Ride for Life, ALS, Chris Pendergast, in my district where I teach, Mr. Pendergast was my mentor and part of, the teacher staff there. So I learned a lot from him. And his wife, Christine Pendergast, has been doing a lot of work with the Life Back, which is why I brought that up in my letter. And she brought something to light that I never even thought about. What if a child, a large child, adult, is somewhere in a precarious position and they're already losing consciousness? How do you pick them up to do the Heimlich maneuver? Or if you have a child in a wheelchair that's disabled, how do you do the Heimlich maneuver? So these life acts that you already have, which I thought was incredible, because I wasn't even aware, are so necessary. And I think having them visible somewhere in cafeterias and things like that, so that a child knows where it is and can access it, or an adult in an emergency. But it's helpful and it's accessible and it's easy to use. You push the handle in and you pull out, and that's it. And so it's a very easy thing. I've already looked online. There are videos. I'm sure that you probably have to have some certification as well to teach, and they're cheap. They're maybe $65 for one. it's not bad at all. But those are thoughts that I never had until this experience. So just something to think about.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's a great topic for the next superintendent day.
Well,
You have a big
certainly,
audience there, why not?
yeah, no, this, we have some good things going on in the buildings, but this has certainly mobilized us to think. I think we already have a purchase order in for the additional life hacks and additional training,
I'm
Thinking about it all.
About how many more people we could teach and possibly help them save lives. I mean, that's amazing what Mr. Feldman did. So, I mean, I just think we should look into it. There's no reason not to. Yes, sir.
When I was working, I worked for the railroad, we had a training department,
You did.
and we were required to go up there. It's not, you guys do right to know too, I believe as well. So as long as we do right to know also, we were taught CPR, how to actually use the AED machines. We had dummies that we were able to work on and get recertified. But it's not always that cut and dry. When you're certified and you come across a victim, you have to actually identify yourself and say, I'm CPR certified, can I assist you? Because if you hurt them in any way, then you don't want to.
I know there's no perfect way, but if I can save a life, if I try,
Oh, of
you gotta
course,
try.
of
And
course.
I'm just glad Mr. Feldman was there at the time
Yeah.
because
I thought he had training.
that's why I asked the
Yeah,
question. That's amazing. His instinct kicked in. But I just think at 9 years old, my understanding is that as early as 9, you can learn enough to hold in. You could save some child. I mean, we're save an adult.
Something's better than
Don't
nothing.
see why we can't teach it. Okay. Any other new business?
Not for us.
12, any questions or comments from the community? Okay. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, February 28th. I hope we have a good game on Sunday. We enjoy a lot of good food, good family time, and except for that guy up there with the Eagles over there.
We won't embarrass.
We need a motion to adjourn. Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you very much. Thanks again.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.